Hello. I'll be the one doing your review, the vault review, and I'm actually pretty happy to do this vault review. I'm happily surprised to see someone playing Quinn Jungle. I haven't seen someone do this in a while. Reason behind it, why I'm happy is because I play it a lot, or used to at least. Reason why I stopped is just because Quinn is just she's decent in the jungle, but she needs a little tweaks, a little bit of tweaks, and to be a little bit more decent. I love Quinn. I've been playing her since season 4. She has had a couple of changes throughout the seasons. And yeah, I think she's in a pretty good state, but sadly not for either for top or jungle, but for mid lane. I think she's a decent counter to a lot of champions in mid lane, and a pretty good roamer because she's not a good top laner because of the ult. It's just because it's not like Pantheon Salt or Science Salt, for instance, because you cannot jump in like from a mile away, right? Or like Galio or Shenode or Gangplank. I don't know. Those global or semi-global ults. You actually have to walk into there, and the level 6 ult, it is fast, but it's not as fast as like a level 11 and level 16. In the jungle though, she lacks clear. Like she's if she's ahead and has items, then the clear is fine. It's still not the best. Like there's still champions that even if they're behind, they can still clear faster, like Nili or Kha'Zix. Well, Kha'Zix not so much, but Shyvana, for instance, Warwick with Tiamat, Nunu with Cinderhawk, they can even still clear like even if they're like down 2 or 3 kills on. And Quinn is ahead with kills. She just makes the clear good. She doesn't make it insanely good. Like if Nili was ahead, she would just make the clear really good. But on mid lane, she does have pretty good matchups and can make more use of the ult. Because if you're on top lane with the ult, you need to walk to mid only. It's really predictable sometimes. Yes, you can do some roams and make it work. But if you want to go bot lane, when normally bot lane is where you want to be ganking, like if you're Pantheon or San, you just go on bot lane. You gotta go back and then ult, and potentially put yourself in a really big disadvantage. Yeah, these are my thoughts. Maybe I'm just trying to help you out a little bit. If you're new to Quinn, I'm not sure because you didn't really say any notes. If you were thinking whether you want to play her somewhere else, Jungle is fine, but as I said, it's pretty. It's the problem is her clears. Her ganks are fine, but like if you don't know what you're doing, one mistake. It's a champion where if you do one mistake, you just get punished a lot. And yeah, I would personally, I would play her if like they ban my other jungle champions. I like in some matchups like Kha'Zix, even Nidalee. If you know, but you got to know what you're doing. Don't forget this. You can win. You can win because your E is insanely good against champions with dashes. So yeah. Okay, let's start with the actual bot review. And just a slight notice: if you want some more help with Quinn or whatever, or jungle or top, I'm not going to talk anymore about my personal thoughts because you probably don't care about that. You can find me on my coach page, and maybe we can keep on doing sessions. But that's a different topic. Let's continue with the bot. I saw that you one first of all. Okay, first of all, you start with press. You use press the attack. Press the attack is not a rune you want to be using. You either use Electrocute or Predator. Why? Well, Predator just makes you so you don't have to buy Yomus, and it also lets you have better ganks. So if you're focusing on camping one lane, for instance, top lane, mid lane, or even bot lane at times, you should most likely go for Predator. But if you overall want to be a solid 1v1 shotter, like in mid late game, because Predator is a really good rune mid early game, and is semi good in mid and late game. Because yes, you can still do those engages, but the engage is not the problem. It's the fact that whenever you go to them, you can't really one shot people. And like a Skarner using Predator, he doesn't use it for the damage; he uses it for the ult, right? But with Quinn, you use it mainly for the gap closer and the damage. But if you don't really have any inbuilt damage and you're behind, you can't even one shot people with Predator. So Electrocute just helps you have more solid damage. And I personally, during the preseason, I was trying a lot with Predator. I tried to make it work a lot. But sadly, I just came to a conclusion. Electrocute is just a lot better if you fall behind and you still want to be relevant, or like if you're not getting any kills. Electrocute is just going to help you do a little bit more damage. Why not press the attack over Electrocute? They both are similar. Well, your combo doesn't only come from auto attacks, right? And in fact, like the later the game goes, you mostly use your combo. You only use 1, 2, 3 auto attacks, which normally if you do get the third auto attack, that's pretty cool. But you can't really make any use of the after damage because what is your combo? After like you go in with your ult, you put in the mark. You auto attack. E auto attack Q or Q auto attack E depending on what combo you need. So normally, by the time you've already proc, because you want to juggle your passive with each auto attack, you want to have an the passive because this way you want to do the most efficient way to do damage. This is what you want. And press attack is the point of the press attack is to pop it at first whenever it's possible, and then do damage to have any form of follow-up damage from the vulnerability that you apply. Yes, it does give a little bit extra damage when you pop your third auto attack, but that's not significant. And if you're just using it for that, better go off with electrocute because even then electrocute is just better. It's overall better. And yeah, that's about the rune. I noticed that you get control word, and you use it here. I don't know why. Like, you do have a pretty good first clear, like depending on what kind of pull you get. But not always are you gonna have a Braum to like. Let's start it here. Not always are you gonna have a Braum and like a good pull. So you probably rely on yourself because if you're playing Quinn, you're probably playing for the 1v1 or for a camp or for the cheesiness because after level 4, whenever your buffs expire, you have trouble in the jungle. You can't really clear, so you're looking desperately for ganks. And what Quinn can actually do, which makes her an actually good jungler, is get the red buff. Oh wait, let me actually do this for you, so I can actually explain better. Basic. Okay. So now when you can see this, now what you can do normally with Quinn is start the red buff, and you go mid lane to gank, level 2. Now, you don't always have to do this, obviously, but this is something that you could use it time from time, just to get that easy early snowballing going. Or get a flash. You don't always get a kill, but even if you get a flash, you get some form of advantage. Now there is danger in this. If you don't get a kill, normally this wasn't such a good trait because if the higher elo you go, the enemy can actually cheese you at your blue buff. So what you need to know is if you start blue and he ends up coming, most of the time you're gonna lose the 1v1. So I just recommend you and sometimes to just ward it, do the other camps, and then go for blue. Or rush blue and hope that he doesn't come in time to stop you and kill you. Because you rely on using your abilities to kite buffs, but if the enemy comes, you don't have any abilities to fight him. That is the problem. So and normally, if you do the normal pathing, if you're doing the normal pathing with Quinn, why don't you just play another jungler? I mean, I'm not saying you should totally just ignore Quinn and not play her. I just think that she's a perfectly really good champion. I like her. But like she just gets so much outclassed when it comes to just doing the normal camp and then going for top. Now, if just because you're playing Quinn, you get a perfect counter gank, which is she is extremely good in counter ganks. It's okay, and you can get the lead, and then you have to snowball if you're able to snowball. That's pretty good. But the problem is, the higher you go, the higher players know what you're doing. Like it's not like the higher you go, the players get better, so they know how to play around Quinn. So there's not really much tricks you can pull out of your sleeves when it comes to the jungle Quinn. Like when you're mid lane, they already see you and they already know what you're doing. But at least you're farming pretty well. You could potentially use your ult to roam places. While in the jungle, if you don't get any sort of advantage in the early game until level 4 and 5 when you don't have any buffs, you're gonna struggle clearing buffs. But at the same time, you're not gonna be getting any ganks because you don't have much sustain. So like if you fail a gank early on, it's almost just going downhill for you. And yeah, and normally, okay, so you don't want to get the control art because I mean I don't know whether you're new to the jungle, you don't want to do this. Like this is probably getting competitive. Like in some situations, you can drop a control art like this. But right now you need refillable potion. You need the extra sustain. Another like I already explained why because your early game is really important. You want to invest as much gold as you can in damage because Quinn is a champion that scales really and snowballs pretty insanely good, but she constantly needs to get damage in order to be good. Okay, so how do you make sure that you get more damage? Well, buy refillable potions so you don't have to constantly buy potions if you're struggling in the jungle and you're behind. Um, Yeah, the jungle item normally is not enough to sustain in the jungle. Like it's decent, but it's not enough until you get the full on item plus a little bit of extra AD. Plus, actually, one more thing. If you get refill potion and you're behind, or like overall you have extra gold, you can actually make it to a hunter's potion. And hunter's potion is really good in Quinn. Like at times where I just get killed, like I get 1v1 or like I misplay something in Kylo when I'm playing Quinn jungle, I just buy a hunter's potion, and this way I actually can sustain the jungle. And hopefully, if my enemy does a mistake, I can stay healthy in the jungle, and if he ganks somewhere, I can actually still commit to a counter gank because I am clearing camps, but at the same time, I'm pretty healthy and have mana to counter gank. So yeah, this is the couple of reasons why you should be getting just starting machete into refillable potion.
Minions have spawned.
Now, as a jungler's perspective, not just because of a Quinn, um, what you're doing right now is totally fine. Like normally the hotspot and the place where junglers go after the full the clear they do, the 3 camp clear or how much whatever clear they're doing, is top lane, right? And this is something you can do by default. It doesn't have to be a good matchup for your laner, or it doesn't have to be a good matchup for the enemy. They don't have to be pushing or whatever. You can always do this because it could always work out in the beginning, even if you're playing against a tank. Like if this was Malphite, or if this was someone like someone really annoying that you can't kill, like Vladimir or something, you can still go for it because top laners normally the top lane is normally a long lane, so you could afford to probably make something happen in top lane. Um, now, you got to keep some things in mind. Normally, this is what the enemy jungler does, and this is something that he will almost 100% do if he does end up starting at bot side. And they should expect that you're doing so. You're pretty predictable when you're doing this. Now, I'm not saying you shouldn't do it because this, as we said, this is the reason why they're doing it is because this is the most optimal one. You start from bot lane, they give you a good leash. Then you go and do the 3 camp where you end up getting 3 camps and you're ready to gank. And if the enemy is overextended, it's a pretty good gank, which is pretty normal, right? So yeah, this is what you want to be keeping in mind from a jungler's perspective. So this is why I said if you're using Quinn, you could afford to use her level 2 power spike because her level 2 is probably one of the best in the game. It is. It's not probably. So this is why I told you can try this trick out. Like go at level 2 and probably get a summoner or a kill out. Because normally what happens is they're either level 1 still, like depending on how the lane goes, or even if they're level 2, your power spike is way stronger than, and you can gap close and potentially just get a free summoner out. Or if they greed, they can actually die with or without using the summoner spell. So yeah, just a couple quick tips I give you there. Let me see how you clear. I'm guessing you might use press the attack because of the extra attack speed. That's pretty. That's that's the reason. Then that's good thinking. But you don't play Quinn because of the clear. You play it for the potential snowball where you get kills. Okay. Okay. A small thing you can do here. Normally it's for any champion, not just Quinn. You know what red buff does, right? It passively regenerates your HP, and it gives you damage over time, right? So what you can do is you can juggle aggro, like you can hit once this, and hit once this. Why? Because this way you can apply the most. You can apply your passive, your red buff the most. Because it deals damage to this one while you're out attacking this one, and then this one deals this red buff on this guy deals damage while you're doing damage to this one, and then you do rehearse until everybody's dead. Now it doesn't always make a difference. I'm not it could make a difference depending on how much AD you have and whatnot. But it's just good to do it because it doesn't really change how much damage you take. But in the same time, it lets you deal more damage in the long run, like a little bit of extra damage. You need to be a little faster. You don't need to be this slow. Like the moment you come next to the wolves, you can just start auto attacking them. Don't wait to come here. Like, yeah, I know this is a little thing. You might have not been paying attention. You might have been watching somewhere else in the map. But I'm as a coach, I'm trying to give you the best tips to climb. Okay. Now, this little kiting here was fine, but you didn't really have to commit to kite to here. You can have kite around here, so whenever you're running towards the blue, you end up being here, and Wolf starts losing aggro. But he's about to die anyway, so it doesn't matter if he loses aggro. This way you'll be closer to the blue buff and a little bit faster. Again, a small thing, but if you combine all those small things I tell you, you could make something a lot big and make you a better jungler overall, not just for Quinn, because these are these little things is what make the enemy um, this is what makes a player really good. Now, sorry, I passed out because I was watching it by. See, this is why I told you. If you go for a normal clear, normally other junglers are with Quinn. Normally other junglers are just gonna out clear you. You know, because they're meant to be junglers. Quinn is not meant to be jungle. She is supposedly meant for top, but has decent jungle clear. Um, now, this could cause you a lot of trouble because even though you're trying your best, like you can do what I did here, what I told you. You could have done this. I'm not sure how you cleared the red. I don't remember. But like every little thing, and you would have done a little bit extra damage to the blue, right? This amount because you have been faster. You would have started wolves faster. You would have landed like 3 or 4 auto attacks extra, which is pretty good, right? But it still wouldn't have been enough to just stop this gank. But maybe, like, for a counter gank, you would be faster. So you want to be improving in your jungle clears. This is a really good example of how good it would have been to be able to do faster. Now, you do smite, so you're pretty fast in terms of coming here. Okay. Okay. Well, you missed an auto attack here. You missed. You could have survived if you smite the. Okay. I watched the situation before I started the VOD review. Because I thought it was interesting. This was fine, like up until this point. But you need to focus a little bit on your movement. What your movement should be here right now is after you kill Poppy, stay around here. Well, to be honest, okay. Actually, it's not fun, and I'll tell you why. Like the most optimal one, like this is probably good, like what you're doing here. You killed Poppy pretty well, but the problem is there's actually a better way to kill Poppy, and I'll show you what I mean. Now, this is a really good example of if you did the wolves and the blue the most optimal way. Right now, you would probably be around here, right? Because you would have been a couple of steps ahead. If you did the tips I told you, which would have been really crucial. Now you don't need to eat. You have no wait. You don't have a trinket. Where do you use your trinket? What? I think you used it here, right? Whatever. Let's see whether you have any vision of her at all. Okay. Well, so this is a little bit advanced, but normally, if you had a trinket, what you could have done is just flash, ward, so you have vision, auto attacker once, auto attacker twice, then switch target to her. She would have died from the 2 auto attacks plus red buff. Vi would have hit you a couple of times, right? You would have auto attacked her for the passive. Then the moment she charges Q, you use your E to stop her Q. Then you can chase with auto attack Q, and potentially make her flash. And yeah, that would have been the most optimal one because this way you would have had spells to kill Vi as well, or potentially waste your flash. But since you don't have a trinket, you used it already. This is the most optimal play because you would have lost vision the moment you flash, and the E gives visions for the extra auto attack. So this way was actually the most optimal way you could have played it. So props to you then. But here you could have outplayed her by playing a little bit more, like not running this way, but rather running this way. Because if she wanted to kill you, she still had to chase you. But normally in this situation, you'd still be able to kill her, you know. Or at least make her flash. Overall, just a little bit of a misplay. Like in your part, you could have killed her here and survived because I'm guessing you used Triumph. So after you get the kill, you're actually gonna get the healing. Plus, not no, you're not close to getting level 4. My bad. But yeah, you would have got Triumph and would have healed if you have Triumph, of course. So yeah. a small misplay which ends up in you not being able to get the second kill, and ends up your, because if you get this kill, you are in a really good spot in carrying the game, because Quinn, as I said, is a really hard snowballing champion, but unfortunately this turns out to be a thing. Okay, now what do you do? Now, well, this is a really awkward spot for you. You buy the jungle item. In reality, what I think I would have bought is most likely, okay, not the jungle item for sure. I probably would have went for Hunter's Potion plus a longsword. Why? Well, the jungle item, yes, it is gonna give you better jungler presence a little bit, but the Hunter's Potion is gonna do the same thing, while you still have the long sword to do a little bit extra damage to if you're trying to counter gank. Because as I said, jungle, you don't take Quinn for jungling. You take Quinn for ganks or counter ganks, and this is what you should be aiming for. And if you want to still get back in the game, because it might seem it's like a 1-1 for 2-1 and Poppy dies, like in your situation it doesn't look that bad, but in reality it is a lot worse than it actually seems. Why? Because Quinn is a hard snowballing champion, but she can get snowballed on by the enemies pretty easily. Um, so making a mistake or a trait like this is not in your favor. You don't want to be making these mistakes. Like the little movement, the little wolves again, the predator, like the electrocute would have been better here and whatnot. Like these things matter, and the that was the difference between him dying and you dying here, right? You could have even survived in the end if you smited the cannon, because the cannon out attacked you like 4 times and killed you. So yeah, that was a little bit of a misplay on your part. There were a lot of things you could have done here to improve your gameplay, but of course, this is why you're here, for me to help you improve, and these are the things you need to be improving on. Now, what do you actually do to recover from the situation? Even though, as I said, you should never ever want to be in this situation. Like, even if it means you not going top and dying at all, it's way better than you dying in that situation, because it puts you back at buffs, it puts you back at potential of carrying, and it puts you in a pattern. What pattern? Well, normally a good jungler or a good enemy team, they would ping and know, like, I'm talking about a little bit of a higher elo, like plat 3-2 plus, maybe. They would know that what you could have done here, what you done is red, this, and this, and you came top. Like they can see it by pressing tab and seeing your CS. Well, maybe this or this, like depending. But they could have done this by seeing your CS or just assuming without even seeing your CS. And now they know is, okay, what does Quinn have? Either this or this, and this and this. Nothing else. There's no way she has anything. So now they could know, okay, she either went for Grump and my gank top, or get the crab, or go in my jungle. Like the top side is the pattern is pretty much like, okay, after 30 seconds, after 20-30 seconds after walking this way and getting the Grump or the wolves, she is either going to be in the river ganking top or invading, like this. It's like, it might sound like there's a lot of things you could have done, like you could gank mid as well, but they know where you are. Like they know in how much time you will be either there or either on the other side, where you either do this, gank bot lane, get the crab or something, or you get this and gank mid or get the crab again, and then potentially do something else. So if they're smart, they can just drop a ward here, like the top laner. Then if you try to gank top, you're getting negated. If the jungler is smart and he has raptors, he can just get a control ward, put it here. You can invade anymore for kills, or just ward here for the mid laner. The mid laner can ward for himself as well, and same thing as applies for bot lane. They can just put a ward in the tri bush, and you're overall screwed. The Vi can also like put the vision here, then go for the bot side, get your Gromp, and put the vision here. There's literally your checkmate. You cannot get any sort of ganks, and you're not even ahead to just because, like, if you were ahead, if you had 2 kills, you can just go in the enemy jungle even if they have wards and just kill the Vi and make the brand come, let the Diana follow, and then 2v2 them because you're stronger. But since you're weaker, you cannot even go there because they would know you're there and they would just kill you. I hope that made sense, because it's really important to understand what I'm saying. Good thing it's a video, so you can actually rewatch it as much as you want. I hope you put thought behind this. Also, one small thing you need to know. I emphasize on the early game. Why? It's not just because of Quinn. The season and overall the past seasons have been so dynamic. The early game is the most that matters. So the mid, I skip a lot of the mid and late game because they don't really matter. How you play them, like with Quinn, maybe with Quinn it does matter. I am gonna watch a little bit of the mid and late game, but we're mostly gonna skip. And I'm actually, as you already noticed, I'm talking a lot in details about the early game. It's what you need to be improving on because whenever you get the lead in the early game, as already mentioned, especially with a champion like Quinn, you want to be using it optimally. The way I'm telling you, or the way you're looking at the internet, the way you're looking at someone you look up to, you just want to be snowballing whenever you have the lead, and whenever you're behind, well, you want to be you're going to be at the mercy of your team and the mercy of the enemy doing a mistake. Okay, so yeah, the early game is what matters. So that's what you want to be improving mostly on. Now, this is where it's a really bad situation again because your team is getting dicked on, and they're gonna be start blaming you. This has happened to me a couple of times, so don't do this mistake on top. Do not die because now you're in a really bad spot where you can't even gank. And normally, if you were even, if you had the double buffs, if you were farming instead of going top, you would be level 4, probably with an extra long sword on top of your items, and you could have potentially ganked. But now, as I said, normally if they already worked this as they should have, because there were only two options for you. Obviously, either go this, like these two camps, or or this camp, or potentially this one. But again, they just need to ward because they know at how much time you would show up, like around 30 to 50, 60 seconds. So they could have just ward like this guy, and he's safe from the bottom side. And you cannot gank him because if you show up, you have no flash. You can't even gap close to him. With decent map awareness, he is safe. But bot lane, unfortunately, are not safe because they don't know what they're doing. See, like this is what I mean. You cannot gank this. This is a situation where you just tell them, just go back, do not die, because this is where Kog'Maw starts snowballing. I'm not sure what score you end up with. I didn't really notice in the beginning, but we'll see. Yeah, see, now you're just stuck with a Quinn jungle that doesn't know what you're doing because, all because of one mistake. You see, like it was this little mistake here, then the little mistake you did in juggle aggro, then you well the mistake you did in juggle aggro is not that noticeable. I mean, it could have made a difference, right? Then it was the fact that you didn't start wolves right at the beginning, you didn't pull them, and you were a little bit late, and then you didn't smite cannon, you didn't move properly your champion. 5 little things that end up you dying and getting Vi ahead, and now she's just constantly camping top. Well, is she? No, it's not her. It's Brand actually. Your mid laner is fine, but you can't even help him because you're so far behind. Then Kog'Maw got 2 kills, and the game is really looking really grim. So this just shows how important it is that you don't fall behind, especially again as a champion with a champion like Quinn. There are other champions like Pantheon. What else? Lee Sin, Nidalee. Champions that you don't want to fall behind just because of how strong you are when you're ahead, and how bad you are when you're behind with them. At least, as an example, you cannot gank top at this point. I mean, you could try, but it's really hard because she has so much armor. She doesn't have any HP, so you could probably try to. Yeah, you got your level 6 now. It's at least a little power spike you could probably use to gank. Yeah. Now here you should just like, okay, let me look at your vision. Come on. Oh, wait, 1 sec. Actually, client bugged. 1 sec. Sometimes the um, launcher bugs for some reason. I have no idea why. So I need to restart. It just freezes and I need to restart it. It only happens at replays. Okay, it's loading now. Okay, all right. So try to improve on every little thing, and you have literally no issues if you're trying to play Quinn or any jungler really. These are the things you need to be looking out for. Play around your power spikes. Okay, my level 1, 2 is really insane. Maybe I should go for a mid gank here. Or maybe if I just want to safely look for country ganks, potentially even a gank if I think it's a good one. But if there's no gank possibility, I'm just gonna play safe. I won't be risking my whole game over one small little mistake I could potentially do. Then I'll just pass the bad period I have between level 4 and 5 because I don't have any buffs then. I have bad sustain, and I will not gank bot lane. I will not fuck up any more of the game I already did. Uh, and I'll just wait for my level 6, combine it with red buff and blue buff, and then I can potentially try to do even more than before. Okay, how much do you see? Okay, alright, now. Okay, where were we? Okay, normally you don't really want to give the blue. Okay, oh yeah, this is the point where okay, this is where it happens. Okay, now you should assume, like, I wanted to see. Yeah, you see her. And you see she's level 6. You know she hasn't used ult. She hasn't got a kill. Like, there is no way you go in this situation, dude. There's no way you survive. Even if you somehow get a flank on Brand, and you kill him, Vi is 100% gonna kill you. Because she has flash, he has flash, she has smite, she has ult. So, you're going for these plays that you're behind, and even if you were ahead in this situation, you would still die. Because Quinn's number one enemy is CC and Hard Burst, and they have both. Both of them have both. Yep. Now this is actually a smart choice. Bot lane is probably the lane that you can only help. Like mid lane potentially, or bot lane. But bot lane is the safest one because of Braum. Braum is so good, and not to mention the fact that you have Varus who can also set up ganks with his ult. The one thing you need to be careful of is obviously the enemy jungler. Good thing here, Vashi shows up, can clean up house. Okay, you end up getting it. That's pretty good for you. You shouldn't be scared of him here. Yeah, this is the moment where you should go. Nice. Okay. No, 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 no. No point in you leaving the minions like this. Even if he spam pings you, high elo player or a higher elo player would help you. Would thank you for pushing this because these minions are gonna die. Like these two probably are gonna die by the time he comes. He's gonna lose, and all he's gonna get is 3 CS. While the wave is still under the turret, and he can potentially get ganked or needs to stay really, really up front. While if you pushed it, you would have got all 5 minions and would have reset the wave way faster than he would ever do it. Okay, so you want to push this. Even if he spam pings you to go back, this is the right thing that you need to learn to do, especially because you're gonna climb and play with higher elo players. Okay, just checking if everything's alright. Oh yeah, they got the Inferno, so it's looking pretty grim. Yeah, this is what you should be doing. You know Kog'Maw has no flash. This is a pretty good thought process that you have there. Let Varus push this. This is correct. Sad thing they got an Inferno. They can scale. Okay, what is this fight? Let me check again. Okay, I mean it was looking fine. Okay. One more time. I want to see something. Damn that you could. Damn, it was sad that you couldn't get your last auto attack off. You don't really. Okay, so in normal situations, like let's imagine this guy isn't here. You don't want to kite like this. You don't want to kite with you not having passive. Run away, and the time you have passive, then turn. Because if she let's imagine that she doesn't have ult the whole time. You know. She's not gonna catch up to you. She's probably gonna auto attack you, and then isn't gonna be able to catch up to you. Maybe one more last auto attack, but it's not gonna kill you. Only way she kills you if is you stay, like you try to kite her while she has second tier boots, right? Yes, you are trying to apply the buff, but the only way you escape is if you have there's a passive to proc for the extra movement speed that you get from it, plus the red buff, right? And let's imagine she doesn't have ult. Then you could potentially escape because if she uses Q, you use E, and yeah, only then. Okay, interesting. Varus, okay. Let's go for a fast.
Red team has slain the
Okay.
dragon.
Let's see if you could have played the situation better. Yes, you could have. Sadly, no. Okay, your movement shouldn't be like this in any situation. Your movement should be like this because if she stays in this bush, she's dead no matter what because your cooldown of Q is gonna come soon and he's dead 100%. Okay. Um, in any case, you move like this because even if there's someone coming, like a Vi with ult, you're dead no matter what. But at least this way you secure that you get a kill. You crit here? What do you buy? Oh, you buy Zeo plus Mobius. Okay. That's an interesting strategy, but as I already said, she has so much built-in gap closers. Quinn, um, her kit is pretty good in dealing single target damage. She already has a lot of mobility from her ult. You don't really need to invest so much in Zeo and Mobi boots, especially in the beginning. What you need from your boots are a little bit of armor if you're facing something like Arengar, Kha'Zix, because they're not very much armor items you can buy in Quinn, besides maybe GA, sometimes Dead's Man plate. Now, there are items you can buy in certain situations, but most of the time, as I said, the most thing you need to be buying is longsword damage, specifically damage, but longsword is the one that you need to be buying. You need to be rushing Duskblade. I personally rush Duskblade over the jungle item, and I go for Deadsman's Edge of Night second, most cases. Period. Okay, now let's go. Let's skip a little bit from this because the early game is already over. Let's go on, see what happens. What's your score? Phantom Dancer. I'm guessing you buy Phantom Dancer because it just goes well with the kit of movement speed and plus the fact that you crit a lot, but it's just not so efficient in terms of what it does. Yep. Well, you got to a point where there's nothing you can do really. You cannot. You just let go of the game. You did so much. Like Kog'Maw isn't scaling that well, even though he should have. But like the little leads you gave to Vi, she has the possibility of carrying. Same for Brand because of all this. Your team is doing bad. You're not doing good at yourself, and the game is just at a point where there's really nothing you can do. But you shouldn't get frustrated from this, of course. I mean, you did these mistakes, but this is why you're improving. This is why we're doing this whole thing. In order for you to improve, though, you need to look back at the early game. It's that important. Maybe you're not a fan of it, but if you're not a fan of the early game, it's almost impossible to take the game seriously and improve. Because, as I said, it's that important. You need to improve on everything. Here, you need to be faster with your combos. And that looked a little like, yeah, it looked a little fishy the way you played it out. Okay, she should be there here, Vi. That's pretty good. You pop her GA. Yep. Now you go back because there's Soraka. Let's go to the late game. Let's see what you buy. Yeah, you think? Yeah, if you're ahead this game, yeah, Executioner is a really good buy. I like how you're thinking about certain things. You're thinking properly. You are trying to think. You're using your head. It's not like you're just copying something from the internet. But the problem is there are just certain things that are better. You might have not known. You probably don't see from the internet. You might, yeah. Everything is. I don't know you, but I like how you're thinking, and just try to use the things that I told you. And just try them out a couple of games, and you see how much better Quinn Jungle feels, and improve overall on the things that you should have. Okay, Yomu's. Okay, so Over Yomos, you should always get displayed. Why? Especially on Quinn. Quinn already has so much in-book movement speed, as we already said 3 or 4 times. Uh, you need damage. You need to be able to kill the enemy. Because even if you can get close to them, as you see a couple of times, you are doing a little bit of damage, but it's because the enemies don't know what they're doing. And then actually, whenever you get higher with this champion, you're not going to be able to constantly deal damage the way you are. Simply because the players know how to play and how to kill you before you can kill them. You're dealing consistent damage with this build, but you're not dealing burst damage and assassinating people. This is what Quinn is supposed to be doing. This is the point of her kit. And yeah, the game is simply
Blue
over.
team's
Now I'm
turret
gonna
has
go
been
and write some
destroyed.
notes for you, just so you don't have to always just maybe if you miss something on the first view of the video, you can like the major notes. I'll just write them down so you can just read them and improve on them. Okay. Thanks a lot for submitting the replay. Hope that you improve from it. I did my best, and I did describe it pretty detailed for you, so you know actually how to improve as the champion and in the jungle overall. And these decisions are based on my experience, and I'm pretty sure a lot of other high elo players, and if not everyone, they're just things that you need to know how to do. Because they might not seem such a big thing for you. This is why I'm telling you this, but in reality, it is a huge thing. Okay, see you, dude.